Hi, everyone.
Can you hear me?
Hey, babe, I'm grabbing a pillow for behind my back.
Okay.
Hi, love. How are ya? I recognize that studio home office.
My mobile office, Wi-Fi, custom designed.
Love.
I can work from wherever I want.
I like it.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm
Good.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh,
Hi.
love your buns.
Thank you.
You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
What do you do with all that hair, Jess?
I just put it in a bun.
I'm like, oh, who is that?
I got real creative today, getting all pleasure-fied on my Sunday, so
Mm,
You look
I had
great.
to do it.
yum.
Yeah. I thought you had a snake on your neck, Christina. I was like, whoa.
And I got one here.
Cool.
One on her arm.
Cool. Fun.
Bridget, are you with us? Okay, maybe she just came on and then paused it.
I'm gonna grab myself some water.
Yeah, get it done.
I'll be back.
Look at her picture. It's gorgeous. I need to get some good pics done.
You have some really nice ones. The festival pictures.
Yeah.
I think that's from Burning Man.
Not one of her.
Uh-huh.
I want to do the Coach Burning Man thing.
I know.
So I want us to go through this kind of quickly before a bunch of people come on.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Hopefully Vernon will join us soon.
Get my office organized.
I'm excited for this one.
Me too.
I think it's going to be fun to just kind of facilitate.
I bet.
Like,
That's better. That's really
trying
bright.
to figure out, I have like a little board here on this side that I can read from a little bit. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that without looking too.
You got to put it like right above the computer.
I mean, it doesn't really, it's like a big old board. So it doesn't really do that.
You need an easel.
I do. I need an easel. That's exactly what I need. It's kind of on a chair, but it doesn't fit that great. Let's see. We can work it out now. It'll do. Do the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
One of the books that I'm reading, one of the things she says is there's always a space between where you are and where you want to be that's accessible, a distance.
Nice.
And I really resonated with that. So
I like
even if it's imperfect, and if it's like a half of a breath forward, it's closer.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, that feels good to me.
Timer out.
Hmm. So our okay. Vernon's coming on in just a minute, he said. Let me turn off my notifications as well. Huh. It says do not disturb is on, so why is it disturbing me?
What is it going on? It's Asia's birthday today.
I saw that. I need to send her a happy birthday.
Yay.
Hmm.
Got my timer.
I went on that thing last night and actually sang a song.
What thing? Where?
The Redwood Playhouse open mic. I was so
Arcade
brave.
Playhouse? You did
Remember I
not.
sent you a link for the Redwood
Yeah.
Playhouse?
The Arcade Playhouse. What?
The Redwood one. I know.
What'd you sing?
I sang the Sam Cooke song. I know. It was all bluesy and cute.
Nice. Is there a recording? I want to see this.
Goddess, I hope not. I mean, I didn't do bad, but I just...
You could just hoard it in all the other Akata videos so that no one sees them.
Oh my gosh. For me, it was really just about pushing through a fear, you know?
Right.
Those gorgeous fears we have. Just kind of...
Singing's a big one.
What's that?
I said singing's a big one. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Rebecca made me do karaoke one time. I was like, oh, hell no.
I've never done it.
Yeah, it takes a lot
Never
of
done
tequila.
karaoke.
Lot of tequila.
Well, I was hoping that we might have a chance, the four of us, to drop in and kind of go over everything, but it looks like we're getting pretty close to starting. So hi, Jessie.
Hi.
Maybe the three of us could just do a quick drop in.
Oh,
The main thing I wanted to see about was just the container, and then if you all had any questions. For the items that what's that?
Go ahead.
Did you say something, Dre?
I said you're gonna set the container as far as like
Mm-hmm.
chatting. And, okay.
Hi, Deb. We're going to start in just a minute. We're just dropping in together. So my items are confidentiality, consent to communicate. I want to use sexually explicit language. Pretty please, pretty please, pretty please. And just letting everyone know that it's a...
There he is.
Hi, Vernon. Hi. Let's unmute you while we're chatting.
Hi there. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm wonderful too.
Yay, nice to see you. I was just kind of going over what I was going to put into the container. We're kind of getting right up on time when people are joining us. I said confidentiality, consent to communicate, sexual language. Everyone has a right to their voice if they need to express anything. Anything else feeling like it needs to be here? Hi. Hi, Denise.
I think it's always nice to remind people that when they're next to someone that respecting each other's like attention, meaning like I've had a lot of people in couples that they talk back and forth while there's the Zoom going on, and just respecting each other's like consciousness during this time, that if one person's speaking, then one person has the talking stick, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Awesome. Okay. I wrote that down, Jessie, but if I forget that, will you
Sure.
bring it forward?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Vernon and Dre, do you have anything before we get started?
No,
I'm good.
I have my own little container for this exercise, so
Okay, great.
mostly just a couple things
Okay,
after your stuff.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Kind of there, yeah? We'll just go with the flow. Sound good,
Is
ladies?
it okay if I have wine?
That's in the container for sure.
Okay, I was
Can I
like,
see your ID, ma'am?
I thought if we're gonna be talking about pleasure, what would I like? I would like some wine.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to just give a couple of minutes before we start for anyone that's trying to join us and maybe a couple minutes late. Like
Cool.
this one.
Okay.
Hey. Hi, Lovey. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're just giving a couple minutes to let people pop on before we start.
I want some wine.
Got my water.
Ready?
Thanks. It's a good idea. Although I'd be caught a DUI. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, in your little office car space there.
My little, yeah, I'm like 1 block away. I can't wait to have Wi-Fi. Oh,
What a gorgeous day.
It was very gorgeous in Portland today.
I got a New Mexican thunderstorm today.
Wow.
It was nice.
How was the weather where you are, Vernon?
It's a beautiful day today. So I'm in Indiana, and it's was in the 60s today. It was nice.
Nice.
Tomorrow's supposed to be 47 and rainy, so we enjoyed today. It was a beautiful Sunday, though. A beautiful Easter.
Where are you in Indiana?
So close to Lafayette. So like northwest, about an hour northwest of Indianapolis. Close
I'm
to
off
Lafayette.
in Fort Wayne. Yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Everyone
not
is
safe
just
where I grew
popping
up.
on. I just want to let you know we're just going to take a couple more minutes before we get started for everyone that's trying to come in, okay? Sorry to interrupt y'all. I just want to keep people informed.
I wish this is when we could have a dance party, but I think that are we not allowed to because of like copywriting music?
You just have to say, I do not own this music, the rights to this music.
Oh. You don't get kicked off or anything? I've heard that like the other platforms you get kicked off. They just
Yeah, it's something. I mean, Ian did his thing today, and he made this playlist that was like all copyrighted. He couldn't pull from his song unless he bought the copyrights.
Let's see.
Gotcha.
DD says, you're more safe on Zoom than on Facebook to use music. Good to know.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Facebook will definitely like be gone.
Will it really?
Yeah, but I've seen people putting this thing where it's like, I do not own the rights to this music. Like they put the artist and then they say that. So
There's also streaming websites that you can purchase like a membership, a monthly membership, and then you get rights to use certain music.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good to know.
That's one thing I've learned in this shelter in place.
Good
That's a
tips.
lot, actually.
Me too.
A lot happening, yeah. All right, I'm going to give it 2 more minutes till 7:05. We got people coming. Hey, everyone. Hi.
Hi.
If I can't see you, I'm waving at you. Hope you can see me. Hi. Nice. Super fun, super fun. I've been looking forward to all this juicy, pleasury stuff tonight. All right.
I know it's thinking about some movement stuff, but the music thing was kind of one. And I'm in my car.
I really liked your invitation.
A dance
Tagged me on Facebook with a dance party invitation to like post myself doing a little something, something, something.
the evidence dance challenge.
Yeah, should challenge.
To do that choreography.
I have to do your choreography?
It's the evidence dance challenge. It's the group evidence. It's like an Afro funk.
Oh.
The choreography did that.
Cool.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're at 5 after. So if you are not muted, please mute yourself. I'll go ahead and look and make sure that all the participants are muted. Mute all. Awesome, except me. Are you muted, Vernon? Yes, you are. Perfect. All right. Hi, everyone. Well, welcome. This is the third weekly Wisdom Collective. It's all about pleasure practices for shelter in place, which is super yummy to me. I am joined by 3 other pleasure coaches / practitioners, and I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves so that they can speak with their own voices and represent themselves in a way that really represents them better than I probably could do. So I am Christina McCabe, and I am an erotic blueprint coach certified, and I am a HBI Human Potential Institute coach in certification. And I have, I have 30 years experience in the psychic arts. I have 25 years of somatic experience as a dance teacher, and I'm holding these, facilitating and organizing them because I'm really deeply committed to empowerment and aware choice. I'm really into empowered consent and pleasure as a practice and a healing modality, which is why we're doing pleasure practices right now. And I'd like to create just a little bit of a container to start. And how this works to me, I'm going to put us on full gallery view so I can see all of you. I'm going to offer a few things that I think would be really nice for us to have in this space together tonight as we go about here in lots of pleasure practices. And if you agree, if those sound good to you, go ahead and raise your hand. If you're not using video, will you please put in the chat that you agree so I can see that? If you don't agree, also put that down and let me know, okay? So the first thing that's important to me is confidentiality. And for the purpose of this space tonight, to me, that means that you can take anything that's said here today from any of the actual speakers with you and you can share it. Does that sound good to you, speakers? That they share what you say? Vernon, you too? You can share that, but what you're not going to share is something that anyone else besides yourself or the speakers shares without their permission. Okay? I also want, is that good for everyone? Can we say yes? Yeah? Anyone a no to that? Oh, look at the little thumbs ups. I like that. Hey. I also want, consent to communicate. And in this form, that means if you want to connect with somebody else via chat, that you please ask them if they want to communicate first. And that's either on private chat or on the everybody chat, if you're trying to speak to one person individually, or if you want to try to connect with anyone besides the speakers. They're all at my top row. That's why I do this. Besides the speakers, after this, that you please ask for consent to talk to them about this meeting as well. Everyone good with that? Yes, yay. Anyone not good with that? Thank you. The other thing is if you're in a space with other people watching this, maybe being sure that you're respecting them and the attention that they have, not chatting at them too much if they're trying to listen to practices that are coming up. This is something that Jessie brought forward. Jessie, am I saying that right for you? Does that sound good? Okay. So just giving each other respect in this space so that you can all really have enough attention and awareness to this so you can get what you want out of it. Sound good? Yes, 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 yes. I want to use sexually explicit language. Yes. Okay. If there is any sexually explicit language or something that comes up for you that is a trigger word or that is really not comfortable for you, will you please put that in the chat or let us know so that we can have that in our awareness? Coaches, please look at the chat just to double check that, okay? Thank you. I also want all of you to know that we in this forum are wanting to be welcoming of all gender and sexual identities, and that we are going to do our utmost best to be inclusive in our languaging and in our practices for everybody. That said, if for some reason one of us does not speak in a way that represents you, or makes you feel included and you want to be heard, this space is open for that. And if you need help being heard, you can message me privately. If it doesn't feel comfortable for you to speak personally, you can message me on the chat right here where it says from so-and-so to so-and-so. Look me up, Christina, and you can just message me specifically, or you can just unmute and you can speak, and you'll be supported in that as well. Okay, everyone okay with that? Does that sound comfortable? Okay, I'm looking at my little notes I have right over here just to make sure that I got it all. Is there anything else that anyone else here tonight feels like they need in order to feel like they can really just be safe in this space and be present with each other? Anything else in the container that needs to come forward? Okay, I want you to know that this is fluid. So if something comes up in a little while and you want to express it, you feel like you want to add to the container, please let me know. Again, you can message in the chat to me personally or to everyone, or you can unmute. Of course, try to do that respectively, not interrupting one of the speakers. Try to do it in a great, interrupt if you need to, because you're needing something in that moment, but try to do it gracefully and respectfully. I'm sure you all will, but I like to be clear. All right. So tonight, the organization looks like this. I'm going to lead us in a juicy little presencing meditation so we can all come into this space together, get present, get pleasure filled, and get ready to receive. And then each of our speakers, Jesse Fresh, Vernon, and Andrea are going to speak. And what they're offering are little bite-sized pieces of yummy, really accessible practices that each of them felt like intuitively they wanted to bring to you. So they're speaking in their own voice from their own experience for themselves, not representing all of us as a group, but we all are supporting each other as a group and trusting each other as a group. So just clear there. And because these are really bite-sized little pieces, I'm talking fast because I want to give them lots of time, just so you know. Because these are little bite-sized pieces, if you really are excited by and wanting more information from anyone specifically or from everyone, you are welcome to put your email and or text information in the chat. And you can put the name of the speaker, or you can put everyone, or if you just put it down there, then I'll give it to all of them and they can reach out to you to see how you want to be communicated with. Good for everyone? Yeah? All right, lovely. Well, I'm going to take a deep breath because I did that quick and so it took me a little bit spazzy. Ready for a little presencing and pleasure? I'm going to keep you all muted. So if it feels comfortable to all of you, why don't you take a nice seat? You can close your eyes or soft focus them if that feels more comfortable. And just start to bring your awareness to your breath. Allowing the journey of your breath to bring you gracefully into your own body and arrive in this moment. As you deepen slightly your breath, let yourself settle into your seat. Let your feet ground into the earth if they're on the floor. Allow your spine to be tall, but your body to soften down. Dignified yet relaxed. Really just setting the intention to be here in this moment for yourself now. Now begin to bring your awareness to your heart. I'm just going to do a little exploration here. We're just going to soften into and expand into, begin to cultivate a love vibration. That might be self-love, love of family, love of divine or sacred, whatever feels in alignment for you right now, just breathe into your heart and begin to cultivate this love frequency for yourself. Hmm. Allow yourself to really settle into the spaciousness of the heart vibration. You're welcome to put one of your hands on your heart if that feels comfortable to you. Now bring your awareness down to your root. And while you do this, set the intention for holding this heart awareness, keeping the expansion and the spaciousness of this love vibration as you now tap into your root chakra. For cock-bodied people, bring your awareness to the tip of your penis, and for vulva-bodied people, bring their awareness to the tip of your clitoris. And breathe. If it's comfortable to you, begin to pulse. Just a nice little pulse, pulling up, pulse, 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 expanding and breathing, pulse through that heart chakra, pulse, allowing yourself, pulse, to generate this heat pulse in your pelvic, in your sex organs, pulse, 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 expanding into pulse, breathing into pulse, feeling into pulse, cultivating the heat pulse, 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 expanding now, pulse, pulse. You can even breathe pulse, pulse into your heart, pulse, and out through your genitals, pulse, pulse, in through your genitals, pulse, and out through your heart, pulse. Pulse, cultivating this connectivity, pulse, cultivating this spaciousness, pulse, cultivating this warmth, pulse, 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 breathing deeply, pulse, expanding upward with the heat, pulse, downward with the spaciousness, pulse, begin to merge, inviting, cultivating, exploring, pulse. Pulse, breathe, pulse, pulse, pulse. Now begin to slow your breath, pulse, soften, pulse, pulse, merging, pulse, pulse. Take a nice softening breath, pulse as you release the pulse. Soften into your heart. Take a nice deep, deep breath. Breathing in, expanding, sitting tall, pulling the energy up, holding, holding, holding. Sip a little bit deeper, hold, and release. Take a moment here. Breathe naturally. Sit in your spaciousness. Setting any intention for your pleasure practice tonight and how you want to show up. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Allow a little movement in your body if that feels good to you. Noise if that feels good to you. And open your eyes when you feel ready. Lovely. Thank you, everyone. Gorgeous. And I would love to open up the floor now I believe, Jessie, you were going to start us off. Is that correct?
Thank you for leading that. I'm just ready to sit in your like yoga class for the next 90 minutes. Your voice is so soothing. Mm. Thank you all for being here. The main thing that has been showing up for me in my life in sheltering in place is my overachiever hat has been showing up just as regularly as it does in life. And I have reorganized every room in my entire house. I have cleaned everything. And that overachiever hat is something that overrides my pleasure. I try to convince myself that pleasure is me like cleaning everything and having everything in place, which is a part of pleasure. Having your space organized and feeling rested in your space and feeling like your space is your sanctuary is certainly a part of pleasure. For me personally, though, I think I could do that until I was organizing every bit of the carpet strands on the floor. And especially if you pair that with low-level anxiety, I could do that for hours and forever and neglect myself. And so one of the practices that I have been putting into place is prioritizing pleasure. And when I do that, I literally have to plug it into my schedule. Right before we started this, I saw a little notification of my calendar saying self-pleasure practice tomorrow. And my initial reaction was, okay, I'm going to have to show up and I'm going to just have to be with myself. And that's something that I have been working with clients this week as well, to work on prioritizing pleasure. So if we could all take a moment and think about, like, name 3 different things for yourself that brings you pleasure. Could be self-pleasure, it could be mutual pleasure if you have a partner, but just brainstorm 3 things that are easy, winnable, and delicious. I'm going to check in with myself and see what that is for myself as well, since I have to practice what I preach. Okay. If you feel called to share what your ideas were, you can pop them in the chat. If you're still taking time to cultivate those ideas, and those ideas can be more than 3. You can do an entire journaling exercise of just what would bring me pleasure while sheltering in place. What came up for me was, first, I need to spend more time in hot water. I need to submerge myself in hot water. And one of the practices that I love is something that I call a club in the tub. It's where I carve out time and I prepare to marinate in the bath. That means the perfect playlist. That means cleaning the tub. That means getting the Epsom salts out, the essential oils out, lighting the candles. And my favorite thing is putting a little tablespoon of coconut oil in the bath because it makes you super slippery. And that's something that I would like to do more of. What that allows me to do is to relax and to feel like I can actually open up to more pleasure. Sometimes that lasts like 2 hours. You can refill the tub on the hot water. So if hot water is something that does it for you, I do that daily. My bath is my time, 100%. Oh, love that. Yes. Ooh, naked body in the elements. Sensual movement and dancing, self-tantric practices. Yes. Stretching. Yummy. Yeah. we all could use more self-pleasure, and what we need to get there is actually putting it into practice. And for some of us that have our little overachiever hat, we can take that off when we have the scheduled spontaneity in our calendar. And so I want you to take those ideas that you just cultivated and create 1 to 2 windows per week. And you'll prioritize pleasure and self-pleasure first, and then fun and activities that bring connection, like with your family or friends, like the Zoom dance calls and playing with your family, and then work. And see how that shifts things for you. It's definitely been working for me. And I actually have to do that every single week. I have to sit down every week and be like, okay, when is this going to happen? Because if I don't prioritize it, it does not happen. So that's been one of the favorite things that I have done. I forgot to introduce myself. I think Christina got me so high that I'm like, let's just ride that cloud. So I am a sex and intimacy coach. I work with women and couples to create a deep, intimate connection with mind-blowing sexual pleasure. So a couple of other things that showed up for me that I don't know why, but sharing this, I think, is just an expression of non-judgment on myself and sharing it with others. Like, I felt the need to be tied up. I think I just need to be tied up this week. And maybe I can do that for myself, but I need to surrender. And surrendering is much easier for me when I have no other option besides being stuck somewhere. And so that's something that I think I could potentially ask someone else to do. Or I can figure out how to handcuff myself, I think. And then also, what was the third thing? Oh, the third thing was, I think I need to take more walks around my neighborhood where I have no electronics and I am just viewing nature. Where there's no goals, there's no expectations. There is just me smelling the roses and doing that for as long as I can. So when you do show up, if you decide to do this practice, when you do show up in whatever state you're in. I did this last Monday. I was like, oh, great. I know this is good for me. I have to do this. Okay. I feel like shit though. How do I do this when I don't feel sexy? How do I show up to my sexy time not feeling sexy? And so what I did was I was like, okay, we'll just take one step. That first step was getting in that hot water, having a club in the tub. And that gave me plenty of inspiration to be like, okay, what's next? Definitely massaging my entire body from head to toe. So afterwards, I got out the most luxurious oils I had and was lubing up my whole body and really bringing in a lot of gratitude for my body. Being so thankful that I was pain-free at the time and that my body does so much for me. And then what do you know? My partner's like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, hey, do you mind massaging my entire body? And they said yes. And then it just continued. And so I just share that story because I started by thinking like, no way, I'm not in the space to do this. And then I took one tiny step and it opened up other doors. And that's often what I find is most helpful with pleasure is if we're not in a mood, then we can cultivate relaxation. We can clean our space. We can do that prep work that allows us to come into a space of like, now that I'm free of all of that, all the distractions, now what do I want? And following your intuition in that. So I see drives, like y'all want to take drives in the car? Ooh, I thought of that and I was like, is that silly? Is that like, no, it's not silly. There's scenery. Yes. Yeah. So I feel complete with that practice. I'm curious what else y'all came up with in your examples, and maybe we can continue to, if other ideas pop in, let me know. I feel complete. Ooh, art projects. Yes. Getting in the zone. I did my nails before this because I was like, what would bring me pleasure before this interview? Wine and doing my nails. Yes, it's helpful. Crafts, crafts, crafts. Took a 3-hour drive today. I gotta try this driving thing. Oh, that sounds awesome. So do we feel like Dre is ready to lead the next practice?
Yeah, I had a question for you though, Jessie, before we go.
Let me know. Oh, okay. I have a thing come up. Yes, tell me.
Do it.
Oh, the future things that I'm doing this week that y'all could continue your pleasure practice in is that I am leading a interview, a live Q&A in my private group, opening the bedroom doors, and it's all about female ejaculation. So I am having a sexpert talk about female ejaculation, how, what, why, all of the ins and outs. I also have a mind-melting erotic spanking workshop coming up. I talk about why pain and pleasure is so yummy and physiologically why we enjoy that and how to understand that and how to give that in a way that feels really, really great. I'll put in the chat box that information once I can remember what date that is.
Perfect.
What was your question, Christina?
That was pretty much it. I was trying to see what you had next or how people could find more information from you or
Awesome. Is it okay with you if I pop a link in the chat box?
I would love that.
Great.
Yeah, please do. And what would an initial consult look like with you, Jessie, if somebody wanted to see about getting coaching with you? What does that look like?
So usually when people come to my workshops, that's when they are gifted a complimentary possibility call with me. That's where we look at what it is you're wanting in your sex life, what might be holding you back, and we brainstorm together ways that you can get that. We talk about what coaching further looks like. And so I'm going to post all of my upcoming workshops. I have a pleasure mastery workshop coming up as well. So I'll put that in there. And please reach out if you want more information.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Would you like to mute yourself, Jessie? Thank you, love. Dee Dee says, you're amazing, Jessie. Yes, you are. Andrea, are you ready, love?
Okay, can everyone hear me? Let me turn my office light on. This is my mobile quarantine office unit. It's excellent Wi-Fi. And they didn't say you can't quarantine your car, so drives are awesome. It's like scenery and mountains and clouds and all sorts of stuff. You check out all the strange things going on too, people getting cabin fever. But my name's Andrea McManus. I'm a certified erotic blueprint coach. And I'm also an accelerated evolution coach and training. Welcome. Thank you for joining us all this lovely little holiday. Hope you're all safe and healthy. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the mind and kind of I like to think of it as like a dictator that kind of goes on a power trip and takes over. Does anybody else have is cognitively strong or very mental or yeah? It's kind of the American way. I'm an Aquarius, also East Coaster, so it's even stronger out there. I don't know. So I'm going to talk about how to kind of the importance of getting from that really cerebral mental state down into the body and why that's important. And with all my clients and just conversations over and over, at the bottom of it, a lot of times it's the mind is the most powerful sex organ, right? If you want to be in your genitals or in your chest or but your mind's running like a grocery list or clean or to do or work, you're like, where are my genitals? Like, I mean, it just takes over. So, and our body is there for way more than just carrying your head around. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to have you do a little exercise real quick. You can close your eyes or you can keep them open, but I want you to take a deep breath. Remember, just kind of get settled. And I really want you to think about pleasure. I want you to think about sex, what it means to you, what comes to mind. It can be fantasies, adventures. Just think about the word sex and the word pleasure. Just really sit into your thoughts. Just let whatever arise, arise. Just observe. Watch the movie going on. Okay, now I'm going to ask some questions. You can raise your hand or put it in the chat. Are your thoughts predictable? Do they have them a lot? Are they repetitive? They're the same ones you have a lot with this subject. Yeah. Like they're part of you, like they're part of your identification. Do they start, maybe they start to compare or evaluate? Maybe they begin wandering around, jumping around. Did any of you have like an over busy mind where there's like contradictions in the thoughts? Or like a wrestling match going on? Or maybe like rules came in and like, I'm not allowed to do that. Or like boundaries. Yeah. Or maybe you had a sense of like when you came out of it, waking from a dream or reverie, like you could stay in those thoughts for a long time. Like it could just pass, you could just disappear into them. Yeah. So thank you for playing this exercise. So what does all that mean? So any of this, those four things are prominent, and it's what they call fusion. It's like you're kind of in a neural path, you know, like deer trails, they use the same trails all the time, so they just become driven into the ground there. So how do we get distance from those patterns, those thought patterns? Like how do we become what they call more cognitively flexible? How do we open all the doors of possibilities? How do we become more creative in our thoughts? Like think this box we have created, how do we get out of the box? So, you know, this is good for a number of reasons. Like, I mean, just in all parts of your life, not just pleasure. But I'm going to have you do another little exercise that will help. We're going to play a little game of seeing the creativeness. This kind of gives you a place of where you can start from. So I'm going to have you close your eyes again. And I want you to focus on your hands. And I want you to think of all the ways you can use your hands for pleasure. Just your hands. What can you do with them for pleasure? Just keep track, kind of get a count of the number of ways you can use them for pleasure. Okay, now if you feel called to share, you can just hold up a number. You can put it in the that, or you can like 5 ways, 10 ways. 5, we got a 5 ways, 10, 5. Roger's got something like 30. So we got a 5, we got a couple of 5s. I had about 7 or 8. So if this is something called, we have another 5. So this is something they do, it's called a fluency test. And so the average is 8 to 9 for like a starting point, like a good, like you're not super creative and you're not just like stuck in one thing. And they would give you like extra points for unusual ways to use your hands too. So if you came up with like really out of the box unusual, you get bonus points for that one. And if anybody wants to share, awesome, because I love unusual ways to use your hands. And they would give you about 2 minutes to come up with these things. There's another part that might have come in of like, did you start to think of other things to give yourself pleasure with? Like, did you start to think about how to do pleasure with your hands and then start, oh, it'd be nice to have a vibrator. Oh, it'd be nice to have somebody else's hands. Oh, it'd be nice to like have a masseuse. Oh, like if I could just get in that hot bath. This is something called functional fixedness, where you think pleasure and like, oh, there's only one way to use my hands, so I have to go get other stuff. Like it's like creativeness goes down and you start to bring in other objects. So it's kind of like, so the way to get out of this, some of the ways, is like, you know, you remember the Wizard of Oz where Toto, I think it was Toto, Fifi, Toto, he like pulls the curtain back and there's like this little old man behind the curtain running all the gears and everything. He's on this little dictator power trip, this big smoke and mirrors, but then behind the curtain he's like this little guy that's like, oh. So, you know, we want to make friends with the wizard, right? And make friends with this dictator. So you can be like, hey, dude, let's do an arts and crafts party. Let's like co-create with each other. You know, you don't need to be like, I'm the powerful and I say what goes. Because our mind tries to like make all our thoughts consistent. It's called coherence, which is freaking impossible. Like, has anybody made their thoughts coherent? Like, do they all match? And you're like, that's the one. No, yeah, right. You could be there for a while. So there's this, you know, just imagining like creative ways, like someone, you know, stir your drink with like, or if you said, okay, I have a pencil or I have glasses, like how many ways can you know, stir your drink with your glasses, or like different things where you think of one object and you think of like, how many ways can you use it, you know, without going to those other things. Another couple little exercises are one called disobey on purpose, which is kind of kinky, I guess, but I like this one because it's funny. People laugh at you. And you literally like, you get up, let's just do a couple examples. Like you get up and walk around the room and just say, I can't walk around the room. I can't walk around the room. I can't walk around the room. I can't open the door, and you're opening the door. I can't get up from my chair. I can't get up from my chair, but you get up from your chair, right? So you're demonstrating that the power of your mind's an illusion. And it seems really silly, but it's just like poking a little hole in the power tripper dictator guy. You know, another one is, this is really funny. A friend of mine's like, yeah, that's like on your way to crazy town. But it works so well for me. Name your mind. I gave mine's name is Lisa. And just appreciate your mind. Like say, thanks, Lisa. Like, that's a really good, yeah, thank you for telling me that. Like, I got it. I know you got the best for me, but I got it from here. Like, I'm good. I'm going to go use my hands this way too. Like, you go take a break. Like, go for a walk or something, Lisa. Like, you just appreciate her or him and talk. You can do it out loud if you're alone or in person. I mean, whatever, you know. So that's a way. I just like making fun, simple games. Like, they just seem more accessible to me when they're simple and fun and you can just do them on the spot, you know? Like say things backwards. So if you're like, oh, I'm so stupid, you know, you're like made a mistake or something. You'd be like, oh, well, do you know that like stupid backwards is deputs? Like anything to just mess with Mr. Oz and confuse them. You know, it could be making like chimp noises or shaking your body, just disrupting this thing, because you don't work for your mind works for me, and it's your mind isn't bad, it just takes on a dictator sometimes. So, you know, trying to co-create and work with them and putting it to work for you, for its genius and its brilliance. So when this comes to pleasure, is anybody having questions about some of those things? If you want more information and exercises, can I take a drive? You can take a drive. I'm not going to take a drive with you.
Rob had a question though, and that's what my comment was.
Okay, go ahead.
It's in the chat. It says, what about isolating and having my mom here and I have to behave? That can be frustrating.
Where are you? What about having your mom there and being isolated? As far as like the mind thing or the pleasure thing? I can't hear you. Oh, let me see. Self-pleasuring. Where are you? So just give me a thumbs up, Jesse. So you're saying, what if you have your mom there and it's frustrating? Like, what do you do? So if you use these exercises, you know, you could disobey on purpose. Like tell your mom, you're like, oh, I can't self-pleasure with my mom here, and like go find a hiding place and do it on purpose, you know? Or, you know, you could be like, it's really hard to have my mom here, and spell it backwards. You could, you know, just say, there's another one where you can say like, who's noticing that? Like, oh, my mom's here, this is impossible, whatever. Like, who's noticing that? Like, which part of you? Is it like the kid in there that used to have all these rules, like curfew and this and that? Like, or is the adult Jesse? Is it the perfectionist? Is it the shame? Like, who's noticing? Like, asking who's noticing. Or, you know, take that drive. Nature's brilliant. No electronics, take the drive. And mom can't go with you. So, you know, this is a good conversation, because how it relates to pleasure is sometimes, you know, we can be like, oh, we can start comparing ourselves to other people. Oh, she's so orgasmic, I'm not. Or he, you know, I have this problem, like, oh, I ejaculate too fast, or, you know, I'm broken, or I don't look like this, or, and it's our mind, like, trying to make this identity out of us. That's it's just a movie we made up, right? So if we can start poking holes in that movie, like breaking it apart, re-editing it, switch the parts around with different movies, we can have any identification we want. So the other part about this is, so has anybody taken the erotic blueprint quiz or know their blueprint? We got Jesse, we got Dee Dee. Okay, so can I have a volunteer? I want to play a little game. Anybody have a volunteer? Jesse, you want to play? Who raised their hand first? Who wants to volunteer? First hand up. Okay. Dee Dee, I'm going to unmute you. Can you unmute her, Christine?
There you go. I'm on.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Sunshine. I'm great.
So you know your blueprint?
Yes.
Okay, what's your blueprint?
Energetic.
Energetic. Okay, beautiful. So you've taken the quiz,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a very mental thing, right? You're answering these questions. So
Right.
this as the tip of the iceberg. So
Yep.
now, so the mind can say, like, I'm energetic, I don't like anything kinky, right? Or I'm energetic. I don't like, it can have this story about, okay, I'm energetic, so this stuff I don't like and this stuff I do. So,
Right.
so we poke holes in the brain and in the dictator, and we're going to play a little A-B game.
Okay.
It's just take a breath, and basically we're going to give you 2 different types of touch, and I'm going to ask you what you prefer.
Okay.
So is there anything that's off limits, or any boundaries, or anything like don't make me touch my ears, don't make
Don't make me put my fingers in any holes,
Okay. And you can always say
please.
anything that comes up, just let me know.
Okay.
So we're gonna have, so touch A
Mhm.
is massage your breasts. Take a breath, and everybody can play along if they like. So massage your breasts and feel into that. That's touch A.
Right.
Okay. And touch B would be pinching your nipples. Okay. Now which one do you prefer?
Pinching my nipples,
So touch B.
please.
Okay. So here's the next one. So touch A would be hovering your hands over your body. Not touching. Just go over your arms, over just barely right above the hairs. Over your heart, yeah. You can pull your hands away and see how far, like where you lose touch with them, or you can feel, you can see she's having like kriya, like energetic contractions. That's touch A. Touch B.
Just
Yeah,
sec, please.
Yes.
Just a moment.
Take it.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm ready. Touch B.
You ready? Yeah. Okay. Touch B.
Yep.
Just take your nails, scratch up your legs or up your arm. Just scratch your body. Pretty decent. You can do it, so there's marks or just below having marks. So which touch do you prefer, A or B?
A.
A. Great. Okay, we'll do a couple more. So I'll have you squeeze your thigh, like full body core, deep touch, get into the bone, the big muscles. You're in your thighs, your ass. Deep tissue massage. Contouring your body, your arms, your curves. That's touch A.
Okay.
Touch B is I want you to cup your genitals and just rock on your hand. Rock back and forth, move your hips. That's touch B. Which do you prefer?
B.
B. Great. Okay. Do touch A, the next one will be put your hands around your throat and do a throat hold. Just see how that squeeze feels, the resistance. Touch A. Touch B would be, let's see, scratching your thighs, coming up, and then passing them over your genitals. That's touch B. Sure. A or B is your preference?
B. I think.
B.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So let's do one more. Let's do So hovering your hands over your genitals, but not touching. Just hovering. Okay, that's touch A. Take a breath. And touch B would be doing a scalp massage. Deep, you rub the head, play with the hair, all the pressure points. So that's touch B. What would your preference be?
A.
A. Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
You can keep going with this. I really appreciate you playing. And what we see from this, and if you guys can see, you can do this with partners, you can do this with, you can get out paddles, vibrators, and you can even do like on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is like no pleasure at all, 5 is like keep doing that forever. So you can see that, so you know, there's a, for the blueprints, hers is energetic, and you can see she's very sensitive energetically, right? You could see that. The Kriya is her, you know, kind of a twitching and things in her body. But she also, you know, she liked the kinky, she liked a sexual touch, shapeshifter touch. So her mind in the quiz might have pegged her as energetic, but then that's the starting point. You can expand and you can combine these touches, like the scratching over the genitals is like shapeshifter, you know, it's like some kinky scratching and then into sexual. So you can see where the mind might tell you don't like it, but your body might say something different. So I'm just invite you to pull the curtain back, grab a hold of that little man running everything, or a little woman in there, and get into your body and, you know, play with it and see what the possibilities are. And I want to leave you with this. I started reading some of this Octavia Butler's work, and some of the things that struck me in there is that it's interconnectedness with each other and interconnectedness with ourselves, and how much that matters, especially in these times, that whatever apocalypse is coming, comes. It doesn't matter like how well you or your family are taken care of. Like if you're not connected with each other and yourself, it's that much more of a, you know, disaster. And she talks a lot about indigenous people and communities and minority communities in there, and how they're tapped into nature and their pleasure and their intuition, and they're in their bodies. And that pleasure is a fundamental need, and that we have to be able to feel it, because if we don't feel, feeling is what we're longing for. We have to be able to feel in order to survive, in order to feel the light, in order to keep on going and feel life. So it's like we know, it's like where we're getting our instructions, and it lets us know we're going somewhere, you know. So I want to leave you with that, and appreciate your bodies, have gratitude for them, and your mind to co-create. So
Thank you, Andrea.
And Vernon.
I wanted to ask if you would, Dre, put into the chat any of your own information as to how people can get a hold of you.
Yes, for
and
sure.
Also, I know Roger had asked a question from you about pleasure practices. Maybe you can chat message him directly back.
Okay, yeah.
As well?
I do discovery calls, possibility calls. I'm offering sessions discounted and packages discounted, and for full price payment, I'm going to offer for people that can't afford right now, that really need someone, you know, sessions. So yeah, I'm going to or donate to a charity of your choosing. So
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
And thank you, Dee Dee, for playing. That was beautiful. I appreciate you. Yay. All right, Vernon, are you ready?
I am. Thank you very much. Hey there, everybody. My name is Vernon, and it's been good. So I am a certified Reiki master and teacher. I am a sacred intimate, which, if you're not sure what a sacred intimate is, involves can involve any of the above, like body work, sex coaching, mutual interaction and exploration, tantra, sexual surrogacy, and sexual healing. So a lot of things are involved in the sacred, intimate work that I do. And then I also, oh gosh, yeah, so sex coaching, sensual masseur, professional cuddler, tantric educator, um, kind of everything that has to do with being a touch therapist and bringing good vibes to people, healing, bringing out that good healing touch to people that need it. And so one of the things that my background has been primarily in Tantra. And so one of the practices that I like to share with my clients, because I hear this a lot, is people that are not in relationships and they tend to jump into relationships prematurely because they'd rather be with anybody than be alone. And sometimes we know that's not always the best thing to do. It's not the wisest choice. And so one of the practices that I got from one of my friends and mentors, whose name is Barbara Carrellis. This is not my own thing. Her name is Barbara Carrellis. And she wrote a really fantastic book called Urban Tantra. And on page 106, if you ever pick this book up, if you don't have it, it's a great book. But one of the things that she does that I teach is to take yourself on a tantric date. And I think that in this time of isolation and touch deprivation is a great time to take yourself on a tantric date. And it's pretty simple. It's not revolutionary or mind-blowing, but it's really, really effective. And I know it can be hard if you're not, if you don't have alone time, if it's hard for you to get some privacy, it can be tough. But for many of us, we're alone as it is, or we can at least maybe find an evening where we can find some privacy. So with that said, first step, got to plan your date. Just as you would if you were going to go on a date with somebody else. You want to plan it. Make this an event. Make this fun. Get excited about it. Plan it. And what are you going to do? How are you going to take yourself out on the date? And so I'm modifying some of this so that it's applicable to our situation being at home, because we can't just go out. For example, one of the steps is to go out, take yourself out to a restaurant. Well, we can't take ourselves out, but we can take ourselves out for takeout and bring it back. So yes, you want to plan your date. Give some thought to it and really make it special for yourself. You also want to get dressed up. Make it an event. Get fancy, right? I mean, hopefully most of us are at least showering every day, but I know that a lot of us aren't getting all the personal care done that we normally do with the salons and the spas closed, and maybe we're not getting our waxing done. Maybe we're not getting our manicures and our pedicures. I know I love to get manicures and pedicures, and so I'm having to take care of my own nails, right? So maybe in some regards we're letting ourselves go, but do your best to get dressed up, get showered up, shave, wax, whatever you need to do. Make yourself really feel good and make yourself feel sexy, because for some of us, it's probably been a while since we've done that. And, if we look good, we feel good, and vice versa. If we feel good, we look good, and it really does translate. If you spend all day sitting around in sweats, you don't shower, you kind of feel like a slob. So when you get out of that shower and you're all cleaned up, you feel good. Next step. So treat yourself to takeout, and not just Chick-fil-A. Treat yourself to something nice. Find a good restaurant that's open. Treat yourself. The other night, I treated myself to a steak dinner. It was a surf and turf, and I had a 12-ounce New York strip with Cajun shrimp, mashed potatoes, and Brussels sprouts, and it was awesome. I spent $25 on it, but you know what? Up until now, I've been doing takeout at Taco Bell, and I've done Subway, and I'm just kind of getting tired of that. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to take myself out and get a nice dinner tonight, and I did, and it was really, really good. So we can still do takeout. So go out, get your takeout, or do your Grubhub and have it delivered. But if you're all dressed up, even if you don't get out of your car, take yourself out. It's just good to get out of the house. Take yourself out. Oh, and don't forget to get dessert. That's the best part. Get yourself a good, yummy dessert. Next thing that you would do, according to Barbara Carrellis in her book, was you would take yourself to a sex shop and treat yourself to a new toy. Find something maybe that you're excited to try, that you've never tried before, that you've always wanted to try. Could be blindfolds, could be nipple clamps, could be anal toys, could be some kind of new lube, could be a latex outfit, could be anything that just kind of turns you on. Now, we can't go to the sex stores and get these things right now, but you know what we can do is plan, because part of planning the date is to go online to either bettersex.com or Adam and Eve. There's a number of places where you can order fun toys and get something that you're going to be excited about, and let Amazon bring it. That'll be your date. That'll be your play partner for the night. So spoil yourself, okay? So that's kind of leading up to where we're going to go when we get these toys back after we have dinner. Turn off all distractions. That's kind of an obvious for most people, but we want to turn off our distractions. Silence the phone, silence the computer, turn off the TV. You want to be with yourself tonight. That's what Tantra is all about, is being present, being conscious. It's not about distractions. It's being right here, right now, and being present. If you're with somebody else, you're giving that person your undivided attention. But if you're with yourself, you're also giving yourself that undivided attention. So turn everything off so you can turn you on. Next step you're going to do, draw yourself a bath. I know you've already showered, but I'm talking a luxurious or erotic bath. I know a couple people, at least one person, a couple people on this call that I know love to take baths every day. Luxurious, erotic baths with your favorite salts, oils, bath bombs, whatever your favorite scent is, whatever your favorite additive is, add it. Draw a nice bath. Light some candles in the room. Get some nice music, maybe pour a glass of wine, and sit in there for 2 hours if you need to. There's no time limit. We have all the time in the world right now, right? So enjoy that. Treat yourself. And if you get a waterproof toy, take that with you too. All right. Our next step. You get out of the bath, light those candles. Fill your room with every candle you've got in your house. It's all about sensuality. Now, my top erotic blueprint is energetic, and I am highly energetic. But after doing A/B testing and learning more about my blueprints, I know that actually sensual is my highest. And I like to do everything that involves the senses. So sight, taste, scent, sound, touch, everything. And so I like to have the candles lit. It adds to the ambiance. Light yourself some candles. You're spoiling yourself. Fill your room with your favorite scent. It could be the candles. It could be flowers. You can buy yourself some flowers. Or you can set up your diffuser with some essential oils and have your favorite oils going. So get that scent going. It makes it a lot more fun. Let's see, after that, make sure everything's nearby. Once you get all positioned and comfy, you don't want to have something out of reach. So make sure you've got all the things you need to make yourself comfy so you can bring yourself some pleasure. So have those new toys handy, have your bottle of water handy, make sure everything is within reach for you. Make sure everything is charged up as well. And then after that, this is a tenet of Tantra, go slow. Just when you think you're going slow, go slower. Take your time. Again, we have all the time in the world. So you're not in a hurry. Explore. Explore yourself from head to toe. As we've done on here already, touch yourself everywhere. Touch, caress, stroke, pinch, ground, whatever that feeling feels like to you. Notice all your erogenous zones. Make sure you do your scalp, right? Come down to your ears, your neck. I get tingles just doing this. It sends chills down my spine, just touching my neck. I love touching my neck. It's super erogenous for me. Come down to your chest. Make sure you get over to your arms and do the inside of your elbows. That fossa right there, it's super thin and it's super sensitive. And your inside of your wrists. Notice how the inside of your wrist or the inside of your elbow, that's thin, delicate skin feels so much different than, say, like the muscle of your forearm, where it's thicker and meatier. And just lightly touch and you'll feel like, ooh, wow, that feels really amazing. And then you can reach around, you can do the small of your back, you can do your hips, you can do the back of your knees, that's another erogenous zone. Explore. Try all kinds of different sensations. You can use different tools. You can use the tines of a fork, you can use a feather duster, you can experiment with heat and cold like ice cubes or a heating pad. You can do all kinds of cool things to explore, but the main thing, go slow. This is a tantric date. You're spoiling yourself, something we haven't probably done in the last 3 weeks. One thing I want to say, sometimes what happens is our mood changes though. We start to get into it and maybe we're not feeling it. Maybe we're not feeling sexual after all, and that's okay. Lean into it. It's all right to feel whatever comes up. If you decide maybe you don't want to self-pleasure, don't self-pleasure. Don't feel like you're letting yourself down. Just go with it. Next thing would be, we want to, very important too in Tantra, and what we've learned tonight is remember to breathe. When we take those deep breaths all the way through our nose and out through our mouth, right? It recenters us. It quiets the mind. It brings our attention back into our bodies. And so if you get distracted, take 3 or 4 deep breaths and just kind of melt into your bed. Or if you're not on your bed, maybe it's your couch or maybe it's your kitchen table. Who knows where you are? But melt into that surface. Just relax and feel every muscle melt. So breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Very, very important when you self-pleasure and you treat yourself right. All right. Back to honoring your feelings. Now, as you progress, this can be really extremely blissful and really, really fun. And you might have amazing orgasms. That is like the perfect self-date, okay? However, it's okay if maybe that orgasm turns to what I call, or it's called, it's not my term, maybe a crygasm, or an angergasm, or a gigglegasm. I've seen it all, I've done it all. And that's okay too. Don't stifle yourself. Whatever wants to come out, just let it out. You're by yourself. Who's going to judge you? You? No. So lean into it. Let it out. Yeah, gigglegasm. All right. And then again, if it's not happening for you, that's okay. Maybe you're not meant to self-pleasure tonight. Maybe you're meant to just curl up and read a good book. Sit by the fireplace or turn on your electric blanket, curl up in bed, get that glass of wine and read a book. Or maybe meditate. Or maybe get up and dance in the kitchen. Turn on some good music that makes you want to move your body. And that's okay too. It's your date. And we can do this as long as we're quarantined. We can love ourselves. I see Jesse. All right, now here's a hot tip. You want to turn it up a notch? Do this in front of a mirror. Put the mirror in front of you. Look at yourself. Explore yourself. Explore your cock. Explore your pussy. When's the last time you really looked at it? When's the last time you noticed yourself? That luscious yoni or that magnificent cock, right? Get a mirror out. Or one thing even better, a video camera. Video cam. Isn't that fun? Has anybody ever done that? Raise your hand if you've video cammed yourself. Self-pleasuring, or maybe with a partner. And you're right. Then that turn up the notch like 10 times. This is hot. Even if it's just yourself. And you can save it. You can share it with a partner later. Okay? What other tips? So this is where you can unmute yourself. What other things can you do on your tantric date night to find pleasure or to turn it up a notch? What have I missed that you've come up with while I was talking? Let me turn on my chat. Oh man, we got lots of chats here going on. All right. Let's see. Yeah,
I
going
like
slow.
turning on the camera and then pretending that I'm seducing whoever's watching, like in the pretend audience, in the pretend behind the camera. It's like my mission to seduce them. Helps me get out of my head and makes it like a performance, and that feels really fun.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I see Denise said askasm. That's a new one too, but that sounds pretty fun too. You can have an askasm. That's awesome.
Pictures are fun. Photo shoots are fun too. I mean, the video is like one aspect, but the photos are really fun too, like putting yourself in different positions and angles. And
It's neat to go back and then look at it later too, because not to be critical of yourself, but it is kind of neat to explore and just like you know, when you're in a different mood, a different state, to go back and look at those pictures that you took. Save them though, because it's beautiful. It's you. It's not pornography. It's not dirty. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to have self-portraits like that. What else do we have?
I think am I unmuted? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of pornography, like there's a woman, maybe some of you have heard, Erica Lust, and she's really amazing. She has a lot, like people send in their fantasies and then she makes them happen. So just all these random people and all these different blueprints, and she's just, and so that brought me in seeing how she's doing things of like creating a collage of like all my fantasies, like a Roman bath and like you know, like courtesans and like, you know, just making like a collage of fantasy and having it kind of like a, you know, maybe like a slideshow or whatever, and like just totally leave into that fantasy.
Yeah, this is a great time. There are fantasies what fantasies do you have on the table that you've never explored? Is it possible to do that without a partner? Some of them are. What's holding you back? What's stopping you?
I mean, so I love like the Roman baths and like the Persian, like there's, I mean, I'm central called out, like the velvet and the candles. And so you combine that with like a bath and kind of recreate as much of the sensory as you can with also like the imagery. Or food porn.
I think Denise is going to have to probably log off here. She's got an enticing offer. It does not include self-pleasure.
Thank you for joining, Denise.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw, before we keep going, I just want to give a reminder that to please ask permission before you're engaging others in conversation via the chat privately. Okay, just want to throw that out again. That includes myself. Thanks, y'all. Okay.
Does anybody have any other questions or anything they want to add? Or if not, I'll wrap myself up. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for your attention and listening. And it was great to be here with you all tonight. Thank you.
You too, Vernon. Is there any way that you want to give everyone to get a hold of you to work with you in the future?
Sure, I can put my web address. I'm Healing Arts by Vernon on Facebook and a website, healingartsbyvernon.com, but I'll type that in. I know we're going to probably wrap up, so I'm a slow typer. I might not get it posted.
We have a couple minutes. Yeah, put it in the chat for everybody.
I'm real slow typer, but I'll get on it here. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
So we just have a few minutes left, everyone. Just thank you, thank you so much, Jesse Fresh, Dre McManus, and Vernon Smith for speaking. I mean, what yummy stuff, right? Any questions that anyone had that hasn't been answered? No questions? Does anyone have a little personal tip for how they're making pleasure a priority during this shelter in place you want to add? Yeah, please.
So I'll add one that I thought was really fun that I came up with the other day. So I'm a mom and I have 2 kids home. And, sometimes that can be a little problematic with like noises and things like that. So I recently just had a little talk with them about mommy's taking on a new practice. They know I do yoga and I meditate. And so I've just said that mommy has a new practice. It's called a screaming practice. And so if you hear crazy noises coming out of the room, it's mommy doing a screaming practice. So that's one way, maybe parents might be able to get around that if they have kiddos, depending on age, it can work, not work, but that's one of my strategies.
I love it. Yay. That's a really good one. Anyone else? I'll share one then. I am playing with new. It's similar to what Dre was saying with expanding, right? I'm making sure that I'm actually setting little limits for myself because I can get in a very repetitive self-pleasure practice, really routine with myself. So I'm really playing with disallowing myself to do the same old things I always do and making sure I'm doing something new every time, even if it's just one new thing to try to add in and juice it up and flavor it up. I'm single as well, so for me that's really important because I can get in a really drab routine. So those new little ingredients really help me. All right. No questions? No more tidbits? It's been an absolute pleasure to be in this space with all of you. Thank you for joining. Everyone want to unmute and say thank you and goodbye?
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks, Christina. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night.
Bye.